Hello, friends, and welcome back to another virtual story time with Miss Liz. Today, we are reading about a very important topic, which is food insecurity, and what we can do to help people who might need more than they have. Today's book is called Maddi's Fridge. It's by Lois Brandt and illustrated by Vin Vogel, and it's published by Flashlight Press. Let's see what's gonna happen. Maddi's Fridge by Lois Brandt, illustrated by Vin Vogel. And here we meet our two main characters, two best friends. When Sophia and Maddi played on the park, they stretched their toes to the sky as they swung on the swings. They climbed to the top of the ladder and flew off the end of the slide. They stayed until the buildings grew long shadows and even the taxis stopped honking. "Let's play on the climbing wall," Maddi said. "No way," said Sophia. "I can't reach." "Yes way." Maddi scooted up to the top of the wall. Boop, boop, boop. "Your turn," she said. Sophia put a foot on the bottom rock, grabbed with one hand and stretched, but she couldn't reach the next hold. Sophia's stomach growled. "I give up," she said. "Let's get a snack." "No way," Maddi said. "Let's stay here." "Yes way." And Sophia ran to Maddi's building and raced up the stairs. "Wait!" Maddi ran after her. Maddi may have been the best climber, but Sophia was the fastest runner. And she was certainly running quickly as she was running to find a tasty snack. But when Sophia swung open Maddi's fridge, there wasn't very much inside. "What have you got?" asked Sophia. "We have milk," said Maddi. "I'm saving it for my brother Ryan. He's still little." "Why doesn't your mom go to the store?" Sophia asked. "We don't have enough money," said Maddi. "But what if you get hungry?" asked Sophia. "We have some bread," said Maddi. "I guess I'll go home to eat," said Sophia. "Please don't tell anyone," Maddi said. "Okay. Promise?" "Promise." So it looks like the two friends made a promise not to tell anyone that Maddi didn't have a lot of food at her home. That seems like kind of an icky secret and not one that feels good to keep. Let's see what'll happen next. Sophia ran home past the bookstore and the grocery store. The sun went down behind the buildings and took all the colors with it. Do you see the pretty sunset colors up here at the top? When Sophia got home, her mom said, "Good timing, dinner's almost ready." Luis, her little brother, was wrestling on the floor with their dog, Pepito. Sophia opened their refrigerator door and Pepito peeked inside also. Sophia's fridge was full of milk and eggs and tortillas and cheese and lettuce and jam and salsa and tofu and even half a can of dog food. That looks like what Pepito wants. So if you notice, Sophia's fridge has a lot, while Maddi's fridge has hardly anything at all. That's a big difference. "Here you go," Sophia's mom said. Sophia and Luis each had a plate of fish and rice. Their mom had a plate of fish and rice, and even Pepito had his bowl of dog food with a little fish and rice. They had a good meal to eat. Sophia thought about Maddi. Maddi and Ryan only had bread and a small carton of milk. Sophia thought about it. She wanted to tell her mom, but she couldn't. She had to keep her promise to Maddi. "Oh, not fish again," said Louise. "I want cheesy pizza bombs." "Cheesy pizza bombs are a treat," their mom said. "Fish is a good source of protein." "Is fish good for kids?" Sophia asked. Yes, Mom smiled. Fish is perfect for kids. And that night, Sophia had an idea. She took some fish and put it in a bag and put it in her backpack. The next day at school, yuck, said Sophia. Oh, double yuck, said Maddi. Fish may be good for kids, but fish was not good for backpacks. That fish was stinky. And Sophia's plan to give Maddi some food didn't work that day. After school, Sophia and Maddi raced to the climbing wall. Sophia got there first, but Maddi scrambled past her all the way to the top of the wall. Sophia stretched and stretched. Keep trying, said Maddi. You'll get it. I can't, said Sophia. It's too high. Oh, poor Sophia. She wants to climb the climbing wall like Maddi, but she's not able to do it yet. That night, Sophia and Luis and Mom ate a frittata, and Pepito had his dog food with a little bit of frittata. Maddi and Ryan still had an empty refrigerator. Sophia couldn't ask for help. That would break her promise to Maddi. She had to try again to help Maddi on her own. Are eggs good for kids? Sophia asked. Not as good as cheesy pizza bombs, her brother Luis said. Cheesy pizza bombs are a treat, their mom said. Eggs are good for you. After dinner, Sophia packed some eggs for Maddi and Ryan and put them in her backpack. The next day at school, yuck, Maddi said. Double yuck, said Sophia. Eggs may be good for kids, but they were not good for backpacks. Look, they got all crushed and smelly in Sophia's backpack overnight. Sophia's plan to help Maddi have some food didn't work that day either. Sophia and Maddi raced to the climbing wall again. Sophia won the race, but Maddi shot past her to the top of the wall. Sophia grabbed one handhold. She reached for the next and oof, came down with a thump. That happens sometimes, Maddi said. This is impossible, Sophia said. Keep trying, said Maddi. You'll get it. That night, back at her house, Sophia and Luis and her mom had burritos. Pepito had his dog food with a little bit of burrito and no salsa. Maddi and Ryan still had an empty fridge. Sophia wished she hadn't made a promise to Maddi. She really wanted to tell someone about Maddi's troubles having enough to eat. Are burritos good for kids? Sophia asked. Burritos are very good for you, Mom said. Not as good as... Luis was going to say something about the cheesy pizza bombs again. You should pay attention to nutrition like your sister, their mom said. The next morning, Sophia put 2 burritos in her backpack along with tortillas and beans and cheese and even some milk. She was trying again to bring food to school for Maddi. No thanks, Maddi said the next day. You haven't even looked, Sophia said. Is it fish, Maddi asked. No. Is it eggs, Maddi asked. No. Is it gross? Maddi asked. I don't know, Sophia said. Maddi shook the backpack and something sloshed. Let's look together, Maddi said. 1, 2, 3, go! Burritos, it turns out, are good for kids and for backpacks too. Do you want some milk? Sophia asked. Thanks, Maddi said, but I'll save the milk for Ryan. Then Sophia and Maddi raced to the climbing wall. Sophia won as usual and tried to climb the climbing wall after Maddi. You can do it, Maddi said. Take my hand. And look! Woohoo! Sophia said, I made it to the top. We're the tallest kids in the park, Maddi said. Thanks for helping me, Maddi, said Sophia. I couldn't do it alone. Maddi shrugged. She said, that's what friends are for. So It looked like Maddi helped Sophia do something she wanted to do. And Sophia, she's still trying the best she can to find a way to help Maddi with her problem with having enough to eat. After they finished playing, Sophia walked home past the bookstore and the grocery store. She thought and thought and thought. Her own fridge was full of milk and juice and chicken and yogurt and bread and carrots and even half a can of dog food. Maddi's fridge only had 2 tortillas and a cup of beans and a bit of cheese and a little more milk than before. But look, seems like Maddi's pretty happy about all that's in the fridge right now. It looks like maybe Sophia's mom is noticing that something's going on with Sophia and she's always looking in the refrigerator. Sophia didn't want to break her promise, but she couldn't help Maddi alone. So she told her mother all about Maddi and Ryan and Maddi's family not having enough to eat. "I'm glad you told me," her mom said. "Let's see what we can do together." They loaded up grocery bags with milk and flour and chicken and carrots and sugar, oil, even frozen meat and vegetables. Luis pulled his package of his favorite snack, cheesy pizza bombs, from the freezer. He thought and he thought and he thought some more, and then he put his cheesy pizza bombs in Maddi and Ryan's bag. "For a treat," he said. Seems like even Luis realizes what it means to help people in need. He's giving his favorite snack away to help someone else. Then, at Maddi's apartment, the moms talked. Sophia and Maddi ran to the park while Luis and Ryan played. Looks like there was a new friendship blooming. As Sophia and Maddi walked, Maddi said, "You broke your promise." "I'm sorry," said Sophia. "Are you mad?" "A promise is important," Maddi said. Sophia said, "But Maddi, you're more important. I wanted you to have milk too." Maddi smiled. "Are we still friends?" Sophia asked. "Always," said Maddi. "Double always," Sophia said. "Cheesy pizza bombs," Luis yelled. "Our moms made cheesy pizza bombs for a treat." Sophia and Maddi raced up the stairs. Sophia slowed down so they could run together, because that is what friends are for. The end. At the end of this book, it says, "Let's help friends who have empty refrigerators." And it gives some ideas for how to help someone else who doesn't have enough food, because it seems unbelievable, but 1 out of every 5 kids in the United States is at risk of having an empty fridge, just like Maddi. I think it's important, especially during this holiday season when many of us are thinking about giving gifts, that we should think about the gift that's very basic, having enough to eat, having enough at one's home to be safe and happy and healthy. Some people don't have that, and maybe you have enough to help someone else who needs it more than you. I hope this book has given you a lot to think about, my friends. I will see you next week for more great books. Thanks for watching.